Dan Illman here with the DRF race of the day for Monday, June the 26th. It's race number 3 at Assiniboia Downs. It's the Golden Boy Stakes for 3-year-olds going 3/4 of a mile. It's also the kickoff leg of the 20-cent ASD Jackpot Pick 5, the carryover going into Monday's Pick 5, over $206,000. Race number 4 at the Downs on Monday is the first leg of the $1 Pick 4 with a $50,000 guaranteed pool. Let's take a look at the field for the Golden Boy Stakes. Please click or scan the QR code for Race of the Day access on your mobile devices, which includes free Formulator Pass performances. The 2 Cuban Cobra is your morning line favorite, deservedly so. A multiple stakes winner who made a successful 3-year-old debut last time out, is a horse that has good early speed, but might have company up front, according to our friends at Timeform US, who list the 7 Chicago's Gray as the expected pace setter on our Timeform US pace projector. And Chicago's Gray is a fast horse, has not been headed from 2 starts since shipping up to the Downs. This horse will give Cuban Cobra a little bit of a test in the early portion of this race. A horse like Blazing Bow, the one showed speed last time out, but is likely going to have to come from out of it. Saxon Saga could fall into a very good trip if both the 2 and the 7 hook up in a speed duel. Let's start with Blazing Bow, a horse that did show improved speed in his first start as a 3-year-old. This race, a maiden special 20 days ago, going 5/8 of a mile, and he battled in the early stages of this heat with another 3-to-1 shot, got away from that horse and got away from the rest of the field. That other 3-to-1 shot that was on the pace ended up finishing 4th. Blazing Bow finished first, 7 1/4 lengths ahead of everybody else. He earned a career best Beyer speed figure, although he still has work to do from a Beyer standpoint if he's going to get to the likes of the favorites in this race, Cuban Cobra and Chicago's Gray. It was nice to see Blazing Bow show improved speed in this race. He has shown the ability to rally from out of it to get a piece in the past. It's a big class test. It's a big pace test for Blazing Bow. I think it's going to be a little bit too much for him at this stage in his career, but his last race was promising indeed. The 2 is Cuban Cobra, and this horse was one of the better 2-year-olds in Western Canada last year. He's never been off the board. He was a stakes winner at both Century Mile and at the Downs. He won the Winnipeg Futurity here over Sloppy Going. And here's his 3-year-old debut in the Western Canada Handicap at Century Mile, where he went right to the front. He gave this field no chances to go after him, and he wins in very solid fashion. And if you think he was just an early 2-year-old that wasn't going to improve as a 3-year-old, well, from a Beyer speed figure scale, he improved as a 3-year-old all the way up to a 68. That's a 12-point improvement off his 2-year-old Beyer top. So Cuban Cobra's just a good horse, and he has inside speed, and I think they're going to try to send him in here, take the race to the 7 Chicago's Gray, and maybe we'll have a virtual match race all the way around. Cuban Cobra is a very solid horse and a deserving favorite based on what he's accomplished thus far in his career. The 3 Rough Customer is only a maiden. He's raced 3 times. He's yet to win, but he's finished second twice, including this start at the Century Mile, going 3/4 of a mile earlier in the month, and he showed good speed in this race as the odds-on favorite, but he's going to get run down by a first-time starter, and it was a little bit disappointing. That Rough Customer, a horse that had experience in this race, was kicked down in the stretch. He was involved in a fast pace that day. He has shown the ability to sit off the pace and finish well, as he did in his career debut when he was beaten less than a length, and those tactics are likely going to be used here, and there's a chance he can take even another step forward with the addition of Lasix. He's never taken a backward step on the Beyer scale. Maybe Rough Customer can get into the number at a pretty big price. The 4 is Adjournment, and Adjournment is rock solid. The problem with Adjournment is he's been beaten by a couple of these horses already, including Chicago's Gray most recently in the Primetime TV Stakes, where he went after Chicago's Gray early. He did a lot of the dirty chasing work, and he paid the price and tired. This time around, I think he's going to hope that Cuban Cobra and Chicago's Gray get involved. Maybe he can sit back and benefit from that pace duel, but he does need to take a bit of a step forward. Properly Connected is the number 5. He's another horse that comes out of the Primetime TV, and he's had a pretty good trip in that race. He ended up getting 3rd in an even performance. I'm worried about the lack of potential upside. He's already started 12 times. He's a maiden. He's yet to win a race. He's going to need, I think, a bit of a pace collapse as well as taking a step forward to win this race. A horse you might want to consider on the very bottom of your single race exotics if you think this pace will fall apart. I think Saxon Saga can fall into a trip. He was second in the primetime TV last time out when he got a decent trip, sitting third off of the pace setters, couldn't forge by Chicago's Gray at the end, but he's now going to get another furlong to work with, and he's a very likable horse. He's won 4 times in his career. He's solid from a speed figure standpoint, and if the 2 and 7 battle it out early, he could be sitting the catbird seat on the outside, clear of traffic, ready to make the jump on the tired pace setters. He's not out of this. I'd want a little bit more than the 4-1 on the morning line. And here's Chicago's Gray, a horse that was claimed for $20,000 at Oaklawn 3 starts back, has come up to the Downs and really loves life at the Downs. He's 2 for 2. He hasn't been headed in any of those races, and both of his Beyer speed figures, either one of them, it's faster than anything else the rest of this field's ever earned, a 72 and a 75. Here's his last start. The primetime TV, he beats 3 of the same rivals that he faces on Monday, and he did so in speedy style as the odds-on favorite. Now, both of the races at the Downs have come at 5/8 of a mile. He's going to have to stretch out to 3/4 here against a horse, Cuban Cobra, who is a perfect 3 for 3 at the 6 furlong distance. That being said, I think Chicago's Gray has it in him to get the 6. It's all a question of whether he can get a little bit of a breather in the early part of his races. The speed figures speak for themselves. Before we get to my top selection, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time for the Monday race of the day. It's the Golden Boy at Assiniboia Downs. I'm going to hope Chicago's Gray can get to the front, and that time form US pace projector is correct. I'm hoping he can make the lead and get it out to 6 furlongs. I'm going to take Chicago's Gray, perhaps at a slight upset over the morning line favorite, the number 2, Cuban Cobra. It's the Golden Boy. It's the Monday race of the day. It's the 3rd at Assiniboia Downs. It's the first leg of the 20-cent ASD Jackpot Pick 5 carryover going into Monday's card over $206,000. Best of luck.